Discover the powerful connection between values, stress, and health with renowned expert Dr. Demartini on this episode of the Discovery Doc podcast. Uncover the psychology behind self-sabotage and learn practical exercises to change your thinking about health. Plus, we'll explore how to cultivate resilience amidst social pressure and provide a guide to ditch and switch common foods containing harmful toxins. Tune in for transformative insights and invaluable resources from Dr. Demartini.
The Discovery Doc podcast, where your journey to empowered, non-toxic living begins. Join me, Dr. CeCe, a doctor of nursing practice, self-proclaimed toxin tamer, and mama of four, alongside
me, Annah Kate, your medical mystery overachiever. Together, we'll uncover the latest in functional medicine, debunk health myths, tame toxins, and provide practical tips for thriving in a modern world.
Get ready to take control of your health with expert insights, raw stories, and actionable wellness strategies designed to help you and your family lead vibrant, toxin-free lives.
Let's discover together. Welcome back to the Discovery Doc podcast. We are joined once again by Dr. Demartini, and we have one final question for him to shed all of his insight and knowledge. And we hope that you will go back and listen to the previous episodes because he just jam-packed the last 3 weeks full of information that will probably take you a lifetime to explore and unpack. So let's continue the conversation. I know you have another question.
Yes, I have a couple, but we're going to start. So you've talked a lot about this misalignment between your values and your authenticity. Can you talk a little bit about how, if you fall into that misalignment or authenticity, how that can further lead to stress, to burnout for healthcare professionals, or we've talked a little bit about those health issues, but more so that stress and burnout of healthcare professionals specifically?
Every human being, regardless of age, gender, or culture, lives moment by moment by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most to least important, that are fingerprint specific. No two people have the same set of values. And there's somebody out there with a complete opposite set of values. And ironically, you find them and usually marry them. And that's supposed to be funny. Now, the purpose of marriage is to find someone to delegate lower priority things to. I'm teasing, of course. Now, this set of values that's unique to you is evolving, because when you're 10 to 20 to 20 to 30 to each decade, you can see a shift in the values. But whatever those values are at any moment, you are filtering your reality accordingly. In fact, the pulvinar nucleus in the thalamus takes in information from the senses and filters only that to the conscious level that helps support what's highest in value. The rest of it goes into the unconscious. So you're literally filtering your reality according to your hierarchy of values. Your hierarchy of values dictates how you perceive, decide, and act, and therefore your behavior, therefore your destiny. Your destination, at least according to those values until they change. Now, whenever you're living by the very highest values, the blood glucose and oxygen goes into the forebrain. It goes into the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, the executive center, which self-governs the amygdalas and dampens the volatilities of the amygdala, which are the impulsive and instinctual distractions that, in a sense, dissipate people's potential. And when you're in your executive center, you're more objective, you're more neutral. Your gamma and GABA are basic, your glutamate and GABA are brought into balance to bring yourself into homeostasis. Your intuition is maximal. Your inspiration, there's a spontaneous action potential in the ventral medial prefrontal cortex that lights up and causes the most efficient and effective spontaneous actions to do what you love doing. So when you're living by priority, you love it, you're inspired by it, you spontaneously do it, you require no motivation to do it. You are doing what you love and loving what you do, which is maximizing potential, maximizing healing potential, maximizing autonomic integration. Your heart rate variability goes up, your autonomic laterality stops and goes on to have now a synthesis. And you have what is called the most powerful state of mind you've got access to. You're present. You're not sitting living in past and future with memories and imaginations. You're present and you have less volatility. And your amygdala is governed and brought back under control, and you have EQ that's elevated, which is emotional quotient, and your IQ is ready for more abstract understanding of the universe. Your space and time horizons expand, your willingness to do what you say, your integrity goes up, You activate the highest value, which your identity revolves around, your purpose revolves around, and your epistemological area of expertise is maximized. Here is maximum potential at its finest when we live by priority. So if you're not filling your day with high priority actions that inspire you, your day is going to fill up with low priority distractions that don't. And when you get low priority distractions that don't, you devalue yourself, you scatter yourself, you live by duty, not design. You inject the values of outer authorities because you don't trust yourself. You have smaller space and time horizons. You now want immediate gratification. You live in desire instead of self-actualization. And you're now basically an animal with passions and affections, as Aristotle said in his times. So as long as we are not prioritizing our life, prioritizing what we eat, prioritizing who we associate with, prioritizing what we feed our mind, prioritize what we feed our body and drinks, prioritizing the services and the clients and the things we do, we're not going to maximize our potential. And if you have to be motivated in your life to do what you say is important, it's not important. Anything that I require motivation to, I learn to delegate to other people. And people say, well, that's because you're wealthy, you can afford to do it. No, I became wealthy because I learned to delegate everything that's lower in priority and stick to my core competence, the one thing that inspires me, that I want to be a master of, that I build incremental momentum around and become unstoppable in the pursuit and mastery of. When people do that, not only do they bring wellness quotients higher, they become wealth that's more empowered. They become more of a leader by exemplification and authenticity. They end up having greater inspiration in life because they're spontaneously inspired by their life. Every area of the 7 areas of life are empowered by living authentically according to what you value most. So you can't separate the hierarchy of values from mastery. It's a mastery game, and you're basically being asked, what's the highest priority action I can be doing today to serve the greatest number of people in the most efficient, effective manner with the resources that I can be aware of in my mind today? If you stick to that, you will be blown away by the transformation in wellness, the gratitude level that you have, the love for life that you have. You'll live a life of inspiration, not a quiet life of desperation.
That is such a simple shift that everyone can do today in shifting that priority. That is, number one. Do that today and tomorrow and the next day.
I have a question, and well, of course, I have so many questions always, but we're going to keep it precise. So the same approach that you just said for how someone can utilize themselves and empower themselves, right, to move forward in that direction of success and, just obtaining whatever that individual wants to in life. What about the person that self-sabotages? What about, do you see similar psyche or psychology, but behind the person that is always told you're your own worst enemy? You're going to be the only, you could achieve anything in the world, but you are the one person who's going to bring yourself down. What is your interpretation of that human?
I've never seen self-sabotage in 52 years of research. I've seen people who think they're self-sabotaging. They're actually doing exactly what they need to do to frustrate the hell out of their life and life to go back to priority. If you don't follow priority, you're going to create symptoms in every area of your life to kick you in the butt to finally get back on authenticity. So what's happening is that they're comparing themselves to other people. They're putting other people on the pedestal. They're assuming that they know more than they do. They're injecting the values of others. They're trying to live by got tos, have tos, must, shoulds, ought tos, supposed tos, and need tos, which are the superego injected values of outer authorities. They're trying to be somebody they're not. They're envying other people and trying to imitate them. And they're creating the normal symptomatology that lets them know that this path is futile. And that's not self-sabotage. That's their physiology guiding them back to authenticity, to finally honor that nothing's missing in them. They just thought there was something missing in them. See, what we do is if we go and find the people that we look up to and ask, where do we do the same thing, as it says in Romans 2:1 in the New Testament, we'll realize nothing's missing. At the level of our authentic soul, nothing's missing in us. At the level of our existing senses in the existential world, we think things are missing. They're not. They're just things we're too proud or too humble to admit that we see in others we don't see in ourselves. Nothing's missing in you. It's time to honor the magnificence of your authentic self and listen to the voice and the vision on the inside, not the opinions on the outside. Go and appreciate them as reflection, but don't just subordinate and assume that they are wiser than you, because you're denying the wisdom you have within.
Dr. John on fire.
You are a breath of fresh air. I'm so thankful and blessed that you are out there educating the world. I really, truly did this. I wish everybody could hear this message. I truly do. It's fuel. It fuels you. And that's, like you said before, we are the captain of our ships. The perception that we have about our reality is what becomes reality. So if everybody just started their day off by listening to you, man, we would be a world on fire.
Yeah. So make sure you listen to this episode and the last 3 episodes several times and pump yourself up. And
yes. Dr. Demartini, where can our listeners and our followers find you for further resources for learning and just connect with you in general?
If they want to find out about me, and I know they've been drinking from a fire hydrant from me because I speak fast, but just drdemartini.com, just drdemartini.com. And you could be on there for the rest of your life and probably have to believe in reincarnation, because you're probably not going to be able to read everything that's on there in one life. It's an educational site, and have them go and do the free, private, complimentary value determination process, so they can find out what's really priority. Your life demonstrates your values, but what we do is our words don't match our life sometimes. Go and do the value determination. It's free on the website. It's an eye-opener. It's a game changer. It's a trajectory changer. It will help.
Well, we will make sure that is linked in the show notes below, so you can just scroll down and click on that and go take that. And Dr. Demartini, we absolutely appreciate your time and insight to pour into not only us. I think that if no one else listened to this, we got value from this, and taking that priority and making that shift is more of an important priority in our life to do. But we really thank you for your time and your insight and your education over the last 50 years that you have dedicated your life to making this shift and educating others to do the same. We absolutely appreciate you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be with you and your audience, and for the great questions. And anytime I can be of service, please let me know.
Wonderful. We will have you on again. We have a lot to unpack. Knowing the problem is half the battle. Now let's talk about solutions. Today, we are going to find simple and effective ways to ditch and switch where mycotoxins occur in the products and foods that you eat.
Yes, absolutely. So we have, there are, and maybe AK and can give you guys the exact location of this in the archives, but we have really awesome episodes to go back to that would be really helpful in this moment. So there is a Tori McGee we had on as a guest who talks about mycotoxins in the home.
Episode 40 and 41.
How do you know that? Okay. Wow. Episodes 40 and 41. So go back and take a listen, because that will cover your bases in terms of your home. I would be shocked if you know this number. There's also episodes where AK and I went in depth with clean air and only talked about clean air. And then there's another one with clean water. So we go in
8 and 9.
Shut
up. It's less than it's one of the first episodes that we did. It's before 15. So
okay, so go back and listen to that one as well, because there is just really awesome information there with how to remove any, mold species from your air in your home. We talk about filters, air purifiers, the differences between all of them, and give you kind of options depending on, cost, but also what you need in your environment, whole mold testing. I mean, we go through all of that. So I'd rather you guys go back there and kind of reference those episodes to go through all of the home. In terms of food, and in terms of the ones that we've been talking about, the big hitters with nut butters and coffee, that's kind of what I want to focus on here. And so whenever we're looking at foods, especially coffee, you gotta look for mycotoxin free. It is not very common, but you can find it. If you are an avid coffee drinker, then I would say it needs to be your go-to to have a mycotoxin-free coffee. There are certified brands. Purity Coffee is one of them. Bulletproof is one that's relatively easy to come across and find. That is certified mycotoxin-free. Kion Coffee, as well as Life Boost. Those are some. I've tried them in the past. I'm annoying and I don't like to make my own coffee. And so when that happens, then I know where to go locally. So this is why I personally choose not to drink big chains, because they are notorious for, because they're making so much coffee in big batches, and they are, like AKS said, it's not single origin beans. So that's another thing that you can look for, is choose single origin beans. Mold risk increases with blended beans. So a lot of those bigger corporations, they're processing, they're trying to save money, and their, profit margin is bigger. So they're cutting down certain places within the processing the processing process. Whereas your local organic coffee shop is most likely not. They can tell you where those beans are being sourced. It's usually smaller grade. So go chat with your local coffee shop, see where they...
Higher grade, smaller batch.
That's what I meant. Did I say that opposite?
Yeah. You said smaller. You said... what you said.
Okay, what I meant was that those bigger chains, they are doing bigger batches, and it's lower grade. When you go to a smaller coffee shop, they are doing smaller batches, higher grade. Correct. If I said that messed up, guys.
I don't think you said the whole thing, so we just clarified.
Okay.
We're good.
I haven't had my coffee today. I really haven't, guys. I told AK it's going to be a day, so here we are. Remember to go organic, but also remember that just because it's organic does not mean it's mycotoxin free. And then store your coffee at home in airtight containers in a cool, dry place. We don't want to add to that in terms of it allowing, that environment to be a safe zone for mold to brew up. So keep that in a nice, dry place in your home. When it comes to clean nut butters, there are definitely different types of peanuts. Valencia peanuts tend to be a safer option because they're grown in drier climates. Drier climates equal less mold. Sprouted nut butters will also lower mold risk. And then you just want to avoid bulk bins. So you want to avoid anytime we have mass production. That is where our chances are going to increase. And also with nuts sitting out for longer periods of time, mold growth can occur or accumulate faster there. Cleaning up your pantry is also kind of essential. So with your rice and your oats, make sure that we're rinsing thoroughly before cooking. Dried fruit can be a big culprit. So choosing organic, say this word, I can never say it.
Unsulfured.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I always want to put a extra U sound in there.
Like unsulfurized?
Yes, exactly. Varieties and corn products. We talked in episode... or across the month. Was it last month? Of non-GMO.
Recently.
It was recently. Sorry, go back.
It's after episode 80 somewhere.
Good luck. But corn products opting for non-GMO organic sources are going to reduce that risk as well. I think the biggest part, yes, is being conscious of what you are consuming. So try to support locally when you can. Otherwise, you take control of it, right? You are not growing those things yourself. So at the end of the day, a risk is always going to be there. So what can you do if minimizing the risk is either not an option or you just don't know, if you're being exposed or not? Then it comes into our own hands where we can detox mycotoxins. What I suggest, this is not medical advice, what I suggest is someone who does not knowingly have mycotoxin toxicity. If you are experiencing chronic symptoms that you resonated with last episode, you need to see a provider. If you are not and you're just trying to stay preventative, then I suggest going through kind of a nice little gentle detox protocol every couple of months, getting on a good binding agent. This can be something like zeolite clay, bentonite clay, activated charcoal, apple pectin, humic acid. There are tons of them. There are tons of different products. Cellcore has biotoxin binder. GI Detox Plus is one I use a lot, or just straight up pure activated charcoal. Mm-hmm. Getting on a binding agent will help get those mycotoxins together to allow you to excrete out more efficiently. We want to make sure that you are actively able to then get those things out. How do you do that? You do that through sweat, through poop, and through pee. So making sure your GI tract and your motility is where it needs to be, and you're not trending on the more constipated side or the looser side. You can use a good spore-based probiotic in there, which will actually help to kill mold species, something with Saccharomyces boulardii. We want to make sure that your you're sweating, whether that's movement, if you can handle infrared sauna, if you can handle a good Epsom salt bath, once or twice a week, that's an awesome way. Or if you just are a sweater in terms of your workout, great. But we got to get those out somehow. Make sure we're staying hydrated and urinating well also.
So a question, how often do you recommend us doing, granted,
just like general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing, if we're consuming coffee or eating things, like we're in the sauna, we're doing our probiotic, when do we do the binder? The binders.
So do the binder in the days you do your sauna. So if for sure, 100%, if you're consistently doing sauna, let's say 3 times a week, then you take your binding agent twice a day. You take it on the days where you're doing your sauna at least. I kind of like, if you are an avid coffee drinker, let's say, I like for you to take 4 to 6 weeks, 3 times a year to do a good little mini regimen of, yes, my sauna 3 times a week, my binding agent every day. I'm also taking a little bit of antioxidant support and liver support. So we need some milk thistle in there, some N-acetylcysteine, some liposomal glutathione, things that help promote your liver, which helps us detox as well. Methylation is important in there. And then those antioxidants also. For the level up would be a true either natural antifungal or more conventional antifungal. Not everybody needs that. That's why, like, the Saccharomyces boulardii is a stronger kind of strain of probiotic that actually can kill Candida off and other mold species. So that's a great place to start. Oil of oregano, caprylic acid, those are really good natural antifungals that you can bring in. But I would say if you are going through this and kind of resonating with it and are exposed to a lot of these foods, then you should take a good 6 weeks or so every couple of months to dedicate to a nice little detox regimen. Honestly, that will help to detox out a lot of other things besides just mold too.
Not just mold.
Yeah, the only specific thing there would be a true antifungal in your oil of oregano, caprylic acid, MCT oil, coconut oil. Caprylics is really good. There's something called Candicid forte. There's a ton.
Do we need to take our binder away from?
Yes.
Okay. Everything?
Your yes. If you're taking a binding agent, it has to be at least 30 minutes away from food. And at least, I like to say, an hour away from supplements or medications. It will absolutely bind to your medications or to your other supplements, rendering them less effective. It can bind to food. It depends. There are certain ones where I'm a little bit more lenient on. That is not for this topic, but things like Mimosa pudica, people consider that a binding agent for parasites. That you really can take any time. But if you're truly taking something like GI Detox, activated charcoal, cell cores products, it has to be away from other medications.
Yeah, we're going to have to revisit the parasites.
I know. Parasites are a good topic.
What is a pudica? What is it called?
Mimosa pudica.
You don't poo them out. That's what's going to happen.
That's the goal. That is absolutely the goal. Last but not least is you want to be very wary of labels and just marketing out there. Organic foods does not mean it's mycotoxin free. So look for companies that use third-party testing.
Mold is organic.
Right. Yeah, naturally found in the ground. Look for companies that truly do use third-party testing. Even in supplements, you want to look for third-party testing. That is absolutely key. Check out brands that have that mycotoxin-free certified label. And that's truly how you can guarantee to reduce your exposure there.
So if you learned anything today, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification button so you don't miss a future episode. You've heard it said before, not doctors. No, I'm reading this because it's highlighted.
Sorry.
It's okay. You've heard it said before, and midwives actually train you how to do this. Cabbage leaves help dry up breast milk. Is this fact or fiction? Myth or
truth? We need an opposite of myth. That sounds cooler than truth.
No.
It is true. It is absolutely true. So there's a couple things I want to talk about here, because there's women who use cabbage leaves to dry up milk, but also to help soothe mastitis and engorgement. So yes, it absolutely is true. It is not just this random folk remedy that is not proven to work by this test of time, like we talked about last week. But the cabbage leaves contain the same properties actually as the mustard seed that we were talking about last week, the isothiocyanates and sinigrin. And these are compounds that are known for their anti-inflammatory properties and for drawing out fluid. So of course, if your breasts are filled with milk, how do we want it to dry up? Well, by drying up that fluid. It makes sense. When applied to the breast directly, the cabbage leaves help to reduce swelling. So when you are engorged or have mastitis, that's where that comes into play, that it can help reduce the swelling, that pain that comes with being engorged and with mastitis, and it will slow the milk production to not contribute to your already overfilled breasts if you are engorged. Now, where women who want to maintain their supply or keep their supply need to be very wary is that if you utilize cabbage leaves for too long, it will then lead to drying up your milk. So if your intention is not to dry up milk, you got to cut it out, girlfriend, within a certain amount of time to help just comfort the mastitis and reduce engorgement, but not use it long-term enough to help to actually dry up your milk in the long run. So basically, when the cabbage leaves come in and they reduce that swelling and they help slow the milk production, it triggers your brain and the body to stop making the milk. So that's why lactation consultants absolutely will, and midwives will recommend it for when women are actively trying to reduce their breast milk, but also will caution against using it or overusing it for moms who want to keep their breast milk. It's also really awesome at draining the lymphatic system. So when we're engorged, that can be a signal that the body is overproducing milk, or it can be a sign that our body wants to keep producing milk. But by drawing out that excess fluid, the cabbage leaves kind of naturally start that weaning process to help the milk diminish more quickly.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for those of us that aren't making milk for babies, but on the lymphatic side, could you put a cabbage leaf under your armpit?
100%.
And pull out that excess fluid, like after traveling?
Yes. Or a lot of people keep around cervical lymph nodes, axillary lymph nodes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Game a changer.
Yes, for inflammation too. What's cool?
Can you do it for fat?
No.
I should ask. You never know.
Was anyone else thinking that, or just AK over here? Another cool fact.
Come covered in cabbage.
The next time you guys watch our YouTube video, she's going to be covered head to go in cabbage. Is that this has been studied. It has been, not that I care, but it has been studied in modern medicine and literature to back it. The Journal of Human Lactation absolutely found that cabbage leaf application significantly reduced breast engorgement and discomfort. So it makes it a good remedy for naysayers and also people who don't need the proof in the literature to say that it works.
And if you want more mastitis support, you can download our guide.
Yeah, I have a really great Navigating Mastitis Naturally guide that goes through everything, what you need, before even your postpartum to stock up on, and kind of different layers of it depending on your symptoms at that time. Using it for drying up milk, again, is very different than using cabbage leaves for mastitis or for engorgement. So mothers who are looking to wean, apply a cool cabbage leaf for 20 minutes several times per day, and that will help slow down the milk production over time. And then obviously combining this with gradual weaning of nursing or nursing reduction is a super effective approach. So yes, myth is not a myth. It is in fact a fact. And until next time, let's discover together.
Thank you for joining us on this eye-opening journey with Dr. Demartini. We hope you're leaving with a better understanding of the link between values, stress, and health, along with the tools to overcome self-sabotage and cultivate resilience. Remember to explore Dr. Demartini's resources for further learning and to implement his invaluable exercises in your daily life. Stay tuned for more groundbreaking discussions and practical advice on the Discovery Doc podcast. Subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss an episode as we continue to uncover the truth and empower you on your path to optimal well-being. Hold your horses. Before we ride off into the sunset, let's take a moment for a friendly disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for general, informational, and entertainment purposes only. While we strive to provide accurate and helpful information,
We're not here to replace your trusty healthcare provider or doctor. Consider us your Discovery Doc trailblazers, sharing our knowledge and experiences as we journey forward towards wellness. However, remember to always consult with a qualified medical professional before taking any action based on the content of this episode. Like the Wild West adventure, this disclaimer may change occasionally, so be sure to check back for updates. Stay healthy, stay adventurous, and keep blazing trails with the Discovery Doc.